Hello and welcome to Home Kitchen Diaries. So today I have come up with a cake recipe and we are doing a Christmas rich fruit cake. So um, this cake requires a little bit of pre-preparation, but then trust me, it's worth the effort. So let's look into the ingredients in detail. I have taken 3 cups of dry fruits soaked in 1.5 cups of rum, and I have taken a combination of raisins, cashew nuts, some berries, tutti frutti, dried apricot, dates, fig, and also orange and lemon peel. And if you do not have the dried orange and lemon peel, you can always use the fresh rind of orange and lemon. And altogether, I have taken 3 cups of dry fruits. And if you are using the fleshy fruits like dates, fig, apricots, you have to chop it down so that the rum get well absorbed. And the cup I have used for measuring is the usual one used for baking, and I have taken level cups here. And in this recipe I have used rum to soak the fruits, but you can also use brandy, sherry, or even red wine. But if you look for a alcohol free version, use orange juice, but then just soak it the previous day. Also use a glass container to soak your fruits, and if it's a glass jar, it's even more better. Now you need to drain the dry fruits in a sieve like this and retain the rum you've got. So I have soaked these dry fruits for 2 months, but the minimum requirement would be at least for a week, and the more you soak it, your cake will be the better. Also, keep aside few tablespoons of all-purpose flour in order to mix it with the dry fruits while baking. This is the caramel syrup prepared little advanced to cake baking so that it's cooled down to room temperature. I'll take you to the details of preparing this. When you prepare this, make it to the darker color possible as it contributes to the color of your cake. And if you have access to light brown sugar, that will be even more better to get a dark, rich color. Adding half cup of white sugar to a heated pan and then 1 tablespoon of water. Let the sugar melt completely and turn its color to dark brown. It's changing the color to darker brown. So do not mix with a spoon but swirl in between. The color is changing, and when it changes to a darker shade, we need to take it away from the flame and add 1/4 of a cup of warm water. Few more seconds so that it changes its color and add the warm water. Be careful when you add the warm water because it splashes and it can cause burns. At this point, I am taking it away from the flame and adding the warm water and bringing it back for a minute. So I have brought it back and keeping it for a minute on low flame. And this is how the syrup looks like, and let it cool to the room temperature. Now the spice powder, I have taken it like this and blended with a spoon of sugar. 2 cups of all-purpose flour, sieved thrice with the other dry ingredients such as the baking powder, baking soda, and a pinch of salt. And this is butter, a cup plus 2 tablespoons of butter at room temperature, and make sure all your ingredients are at room temperature. And this is 1 tablespoon of orange marmalade. This is a cup plus 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar measured before powdering, and as I told you before when we were talking about the caramel syrup, if you use brown sugar here, that will contribute to the color of your cake, but white sugar is also okay. I have tried both ways. Either ways it works. 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract, and the recipe requires 4 eggs separated. These are the yolks and the egg whites. When you prepare the cake tin for a fruit cake, it's better to use 2 linings of the parchment paper, so it will prevent any burning if at all it happens. It's just a precaution. The first step is to beat the egg whites
to soft peaks. And when you do this, make sure the bowl in which you beat it should be really dry, and also the blades of the beater should be dry, and only then you can whip the white to triple the volume and to soft peaks. And also you do not want any drops of egg yolk in this. Start beating at a lower speed and then increase the speed till you get the soft peaks. So this is what we are looking for. We have got the egg whites to triple the volume and to soft peaks. Add the egg yolks and beat the egg yolks just to break them. Add in the butter and beat it until fluffy and creamy. This is what we are looking for, and add in the vanilla extract and beat well. Add in the powdered sugar in batches and beat well after each addition. Scrape the sides in between and then again add the sugar and beat well. You should beat till the sugar is well combined, and this is how it should look. Now add the cool caramel, the spice powder, and beat it well. Add the sifted flour in batches and mix it with a spatula. After adding flour, it's always better to mix with a spatula, because otherwise you might end up with over mixing. So after the final batch is added, just once we can do it with the beater. Now everything is well combined with the spatula, and as a final mixing we'll just do with the beater. Now add in the orange marmalade, and this gives a special taste to the cake, and use a substitute as an apricot jam or a mixed fruit jam only if you don't get the orange marmalade, and combine it well with a spatula. So after the orange marmalade is mixed well into the batter, we add in the egg whites, and it's added in batches, and we fold in the egg whites into the cake batter. So this is how you fold in the egg whites into the cake batter. Do not mix the egg whites vigorously, because then we lose the air pockets which we got while whipping the egg whites into peaks. So with patience, fold in the egg whites in batches. Mixing roughly will spoil the texture of the cake also. In goes the next batch and repeat the same. And the consistency of the cake batter is comparatively a thicker consistency. Now we need to fold in the egg whites till the white streaks disappear. So we still have white streaks, so that's why we are folding it. And now the batter is ready, and we'll be mixing the dry fruits into it. So before we add in the dry fruits, we need to add in 1 to 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and mix it well. So this is done to prevent the sinking of the dry fruits to the bottom of the cake pan. So we all want the dry fruits to be equally distributed in the cake. So this step is done for that. Now add in the dry fruits in batches into the cake batter. We also need to add in the retained rum at this point of time. So we won't be adding the full amount. We'll just add 1 to 2 teaspoons of retained rum at this point, and then save the remaining for feeding the cake. So this is how the batter looks. It's ready. Now we'll be transferring this batter to the prepared cake tins. So these are the prepared cake tins. Transfer the batter into the prepared cake tins, and this recipe yields 2 loaf pans. So distribute the batter among these 2 pans. And it's always better to level the cake batter with a spatula because it helps the cake to even out. Also, making a depression at the center of the cake tin also helps the even out the cake. Now just for the decoration, I'm adding few cashew nuts. So these are not the soaked cashew nuts. Wipe off the excess batter because it might start burning. Now into the preheated oven goes in these 2 pans, and it's going to take somewhere between 50 to 60 minutes, but we'll be checking with a toothpick inserted at the center, and it should come out clean. So these are the baked cakes. I just took them out of the oven and I'm doing the toothpick test. It just comes out clean, and that's a clear indication that our cakes are well done. Now we need to keep it on the wire rack, let it cool down for some time, and then we can turn it upside down. So now I have kept the cakes upside down and let it cool down completely this way. Our cakes have cooled down completely, and I'm just removing the parchment paper. So this is how our cake looks. So now we need to make holes with this toothpick, just like this, and then feed in the cakes with rum. So just take the retained rum and brush in very lightly. So we do not want to make the cakes soggy because that will affect the texture of the baked cake. So just go a little bit faster and brush it, and repeat the same thing on the top of the cake too. Make small holes and then brush the rum over it. even on the sides. Save the remaining for later use. So this is called feeding of these cakes, and rum acts as a preservative, and this can be done till Christmas or till you cut the cake. So this feeding can be done once in a week, and till Christmas if you keep it, that's called maturing the cake. So I'm just covering it back with a parchment paper for storing the cake. So you need to cover it with parchment paper or the cling film, and then with an aluminium foil, and store it in a dry cool place. So if your countertop is a dry cool place, just store it there. But if you live in a hotter climate and if you have disturbances from insects, it's better to store in an airtight container this way. So this is how you keep your cake safe until you cut it. So this Christmas, why don't you surprise your loved ones with this delicious rum-soaked fruitcake? I'm sure they're gonna love it. Until you do it, you never know how special is a home-baked cake. Cook at home, a healthy lifestyle. Thanks for watching.